Moments ago, the United States Senate voted to give President Obama fast track, that's trade promotional authority, by a vote of 60 to 38. TPA is officially headed to the president's desk. The bill has no trade adjustment assistance included in the language for displaced workers. Now, the Senate is expected to take that up and pass TAA tonight. It will head to the House for a vote tomorrow. The future of adjustment assistance for folks who lose their job in this economy to get retrained, the future of that in the House became a little bit more clear today. Earlier this month, Nancy Pelosi blocked TAA in an effort to derail fast track and the TPP. After the bills were split apart, well, she's changing her mind at this hour. She wrote a letter to Democratic House members today saying, while we may not all vote in the same manner on TAA, I will support its passage because it can open the door to a full debate on TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, the big trade deal, which I think stinks. But whatever. Republicans are generally opposed to adjustment assistance. They think it's going to cost the government too much money to retool workers in our economy, although it appears Democrats are ready to give President Obama the votes he needs to see TAA pass. If the president gets fast track with adjustment assistance, it will pave the way for the largest trade deal this country's ever done, 40% of the global economy, and that is the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Meanwhile, a new report out shows the Trans-Pacific Partnership does not address the value-added tax. Now, the president has been selling the TPP as a tariff-free way to export goods that would boost the economy here in America. But even with tariff-free access, 10 of 11 TPP countries can still impose this tax. 19% for Chile, 18% for Peru, 16% in Mexico. That's getting goods in there. 15% in New Zealand, 8% in Japan, and so on. And it also depends on what goods are being shipped in, on what the tariffs is going to be. The only country with no value-added tax is Brunei. Maybe that's why the president likes them so much. So even with TPP, U.S. goods will still be subject to high tariffs. So how are we going to get goods out of this country? Now, on the flip side, the United States has no value-added tax. They can just get their goods in here, so foreign goods can just flood the United States market. Tariff-free. Commentary tonight. I've covered this for over a year. At this hour, I don't recognize President Obama anymore. I don't know who this guy is. This is not what he campaigned on. I'm totally confused at everything he has done throughout this entire process. It's been a lot of generic talk and a sell job, but no specifics and promises that have never been lived up to. The president, remember, never mentioned a word about this massive trade agreement during the 2012 re-election campaign. I happened to listen to him quite a bit in 2012. In fact, President Obama made outsourcing and the actions of Mitt Romney closing down plants a focal point of his campaign. Let it be said, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is the biggest win Wall Street has ever had when it comes to trade. There's never been a bigger deal. It's also the biggest loss labor has ever had in this country, a real black eye. It seems to me this president has turned his back on the very people that put him in office. He wouldn't have been there in 2008, and he would have never been reelected in 2012 had he had not had labor behind him. Every union in this country has said no to this. The president has turned his back on him and said, well, this is what we're going to do. I can't figure it out. It must be some national security thing that we've got to have a military presence and a bunch of bases in that part of the world, because at the end of the day, we're really worried about China, and we sure as hell don't want to get in a shooting match with them. For more, let me bring in Congressman Tim Ryan of Ohio and Congresswoman Maxine Waters of California. Two advocates for workers, no doubt about it. Congressman, let me ask you first, what has unraveled for the Democrats in this process in the last 24 hours? Because TAA was really the last hope that would turn this whole trade thing around. Your thoughts?
Well, we got some clarity with the Senate passing the TPA. given the president the authority to negotiate without any amendments from the House. That train has left the station. That's going to pass. They have the votes in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. The president's going to sign it. Train left the station. And I think now we're faced with, Congresswoman Waters and I and our colleagues are faced with, those same people that have been displaced in the past from NAFTA and CAFTA, and now will be displaced from this trade agreement, whether or not we're going to do anything for them. And I think that's the position that we're all in. And I think, we have to help them. I have one of the highest concentrations of TAA members, healthcare tax credit members of any congressional district in the entire country. And here these folks are being used as a pawn in this game, and now we're forced to choose, and we're going to have to help them to the extent that we can. But I think to watch Democrats pass this bill, Ed, is a tragedy. And I will say that I can't believe not only did Democrats vote for this bill, we didn't get a damn thing for it. We didn't get a transportation bill. We didn't get an increase in Pell Grants. We didn't get campaign finance reform. We have the major corporations come into this place, get exactly what they want. The pharmaceutical industry is getting exactly what we want. But if you look at immigration, human trafficking, some of these other issues that are going to be in the trade agreement, those provisions have all been diminished.
Yeah.
So we didn't get a damn thing in this thing, and the American workers left to suffer, and now we've got to throw them crumbs like we always have. And it's a shame. It's a tragedy what's happened here.
Congresswoman Waters, some may come to the conclusion that Democrats didn't fight to the finish. What's your response?
Oh, no, we fought, and we fought very hard. As a matter of fact, we won when we refused to allow them to trick us in voting for the trade adjustment along with the fast track authority. We beat them. But then the Republicans went and voted for the agreement for the president to have this authority, and they sent it over to the Senate, and the Senate is agreeing to it. So we got outmaneuvered. They used a lot of tricks. And so what they have basically done is they've taken the trade adjustment authority and they've coupled it with AGOA, that is trade with Africa, so that it would handicap us.
That would have passed anyway.
It would have passed, but what they tried to do was they tried to get the authority for the president to have this authority to move forward by coupling it with the trade adjustment, and we would not allow that. So they came back, and the Republicans got their way.
Congresswoman, give us your true assessment of President Obama on this issue. Never talked about it in 2012 in the run-up to re-election. It was being negotiated. We all know this is going to outsource jobs, or we wouldn't even be talking about TAA, trade adjustment assistance for displaced workers. I mean, is this the President Obama that you thought was elected? I mean, isn't he turning his back on the middle class?
Well, you know that we're extremely disappointed. We did not want him or any president to have the authority by which to go and negotiate without Congress having the ability to vote, to amend, to really be involved in any way. What we have now is a possibility that we're going to have a trade plan that simply will come to the Congress, and we can look at it, but we can't amend it. We can't do anything.
This is for 6 years.
There are a lot of issues to be dealt with.
This isn't just for the rest of Obama. This is for 6 years. The next president is going to have to deal with this. So there's going to be more trade agreements, Congressman Ryan, coming down the pike that could be worse than this one.
Well, there's no question about it. And if you get a Republican president, it's going to happen even quicker. And what's stunning is we have the evidence. Ed, you've been to Ohio. I've seen you there many times. You've seen what has happened to our communities after NAFTA, after CAFTA. We have the evidence.
Yeah.
You know, we can see what the end result of these things are, and yet we chose to do it anyway. And saying for another 6 years, whatever president comes into office, they're going to have the ability to negotiate this. Just bring it to Congress for an up or down vote. Maxine Waters, Tim Ryan, we don't have the opportunity to put a labor amendment in there, a human trafficking amendment in there, nothing. We go up or down, and this thing's already being negotiated. We're not going to have a say.
The multinationals,
go offshore.
The corporations, the multinationals now run the United States government. They play a big hand, a bigger hand today than ever before. And the president keeps talking about all these customers, that 95% of the customers are outside the United States. 80% of the people that live on the face of this earth make less than $10 a day. Where are all these new customers going to come from?
Yeah.
I don't know. What I see is exporting jobs offshore
Yes.
to these countries that are paying their people pennies a day or pennies an hour to do this work. And we're going to lose jobs and lose manufacturing that we're trying to build up here in this country and not do good job creation here.
All right.
And I think it's going to hurt our economy.
It
I'm
is.
really concerned about it.
It is going to hurt the economy.
Let me just say quickly, the number one issue here is campaign finance reform. We have got to get the money out of this political system. It's corrupted the system. The average person knows that the deck is stacked against them. They see it, particularly with this issue here. We've got to clean up the money in politics because that's what's driving the whole machine. We can talk about trade, tax cuts, whatever you want to talk about. Behind that is the massive amounts of money that's in the political system. And until we fix that problem, this system's going to continue to be corroded.
All right. Congressman Tim Ryan, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, I appreciate you keeping up the fight. Thanks for joining us tonight. And one final comment. Donald Trump has been working over the president on his negotiating skills. To the credit of the president, looks like he did a pretty good job on this one. He got exactly what he wanted for the corporations and Wall Street.